What's up, card fighters? Today I'm going to be showing you a deck profile deck of Bastion. So first, make sure your wide deck is different sleeves to your main deck, because it's kind of important. So let's get started. So I'm running obviously one of the starter. Make sure it's a white starter, make sure the flag is white. The reason why I'm running this is because it's an SP, so thought, why not? Then I'm running Blasted Javelin because, yeah, why not? Blasted Dark I'm running just to do a counter blast, retire something, and to do an extra drive. That's the only reason why I won Blasted Dark. And then Bastion, because we're running a Bastion deck. Because Bastion, the control Bastion, is just fun. I reckon it's fun anyway. Ever since I found out you can do a control Bastion, I went to it and it's like, oh, this is a lot better than, well, a lot funner than other Bastion. So I'm running 3 more extra Bastions from our main deck. He's from the trial deck, so it's pretty easy to get. Now you want to want 4 of this guy. I do not have 4. He's from the box set 1, so if you do need him, booster box 1 is what you want. For backup, I'm just using her. She allows me to draw, and that's fine. Not 2, but she's a Soul Blast 1 instead of Counter Blast 2, Soul Blast 1 to draw 2. If I call it a grade 3, which I will, because most of our cards in our decks are grade 3. Now, you want to want 4 of him. You want to get him more than you want to get this guy. I found out most of my opponent is attacking this guy because he's more important to me than him. Just because of that counter charge and soul charge. It's very important, especially with the control Bastion. But here's my 2 backups, what I'm using. Just because I didn't know what else to do, because this is the only card I know that counter charges and soul charge. 4 of our other grade 3 that goes in the soul. This is from the trial deck. It's still a great card. Put it in the soul, giving one of your reguards an extra 10k, and hoping one of your drive checks is a grade 3, just standing back up. The one that you give the 10k to. Now, I'm wanting 1 of this guy. This guy is a heavy cost, because when you discard him, so either, hold up, wait. Sorry about the loud noise. Okay, so with this guy, when you use Bastion, you can discard this guy when you pull off a grade 3 from a drive check. So discard this one, counter blast 2, soul blast 1, and then choose a column, and your opponent puts all that reguards in that column back in the bottom of their deck in any order. The reason why I won in just 1, it is a heavy cost, but I found out when I was running 4 of this guy, it didn't really matter. I had so much counter blast to do just because I don't do a lot of counter blasting. So 1 of him was actually great. And the best thing is you can target cards that says this card cannot be targeted, because you're not targeting the card, you're targeting the column. So let's say if I'm facing another Bastion and he has this guy out, and I use discard him, I can choose that column to get rid of, because this card can't be chosen by card effect. But I'm not choosing the card, I'm choosing a column. So I'm choosing a circle. So that's why I do like that guy. Now, 4 PGs you want to want. If you do not have the PGs from the booster box, use the trial deck one. The trial deck one's still good. And PGs are just, you can't pass up PGs. If you can't feel them, just remember that if these 2 are in your hand, just make sure, and you have 4 cards in your hand, make sure you get rid of the one in the trial deck first before you get rid of the one in the box. Just because if your hand is 2 or less, it's free cost, and this one you don't. So make sure if you have like 4 cards in hand, use her first before you use the new one. Okay, now for our order cards. For this one, obviously like I said, I'm wanting a control Bastion. This one's great. Soul Blast a grade 3 and choose one of your opponent's rear guards and put their rear guards in the same column in the bottom of the deck. So, like I said, let's choose, let's say if this guy was here and this was in the back row. I would choose that card, and then that entire column will go away, even this. Because this card's not been chosen by a card effect, it's just the column. I chose the guy that's behind it, and that column disappears. And just remember, it's a Soul Blast grade, you need a Soul Blast grade 3. So anything that requires a Soul Blast, just get rid of a grade 1 or grade 2, or your starter if that's still in there. And then when you use other cards that need Soul Blast grade 3, use them. Most of your deck is grade 3, so most of the time you do Soul Charge grade 3 with this guy. Or put a grade 3 in your Soul by ability. 1 and 2 of this order card, you can bump it up to 4 if you're really into. Not sure what to get rid of, you might can get rid of one of him. And if you don't like him, obviously, get rid of him. And maybe one of him. To me, this guy's he's really great, so I like it up for. But yeah, this is amazing because you do a Counter Blast and a Soul Blast, and you can do one of these, well, you can do all of these effects, but you need certain grade 3s. So if you have 2 or more grade 3s, choose one of your units and it gains 5 counter and then a turn. But if you have 3 or more grade 3s, you choose one of your units, gain 5 counter and a turn, and draw a card. But you have 4 or more grade 3s, you do all the effects. And now our Blitz order is this. It's great shield power. You kind of need shield power. This doesn't have a lot of guarding power. It's kind of like Zolgar, just not enough guard power, but there's a reason why. Because if we had a lot of guard power and a lot of power, they would just become like really broken decks. One of our over triggers. It's an over trigger. Kind of hard to explain why it's so great. You need at least one over trigger in each deck. If you don't have this over trigger, use the tri deck one. 4 front triggers. I do like front triggers. Most of the time I do have a front row. My front row is filled up, sorry. So having a front trigger is just great. You can bump it to 3 if you want. If you don't want 1 less crits, I can understand why you want to have 8 crits and 3 fronts. But I do like 4 fronts better than having 8 crits. And plus, the extra guard power does help if my opponent is at grade 3 or greater. So 20k shield it would be, which is just, does help a bit. And obviously I want 7 crits. Like I said, you can want, you can want 8 crits if you want, just get rid of 1 front. But with this deck, I kind of like to see a little bit more fronts, just give more power. Usually my opponent, it's really on like 4 or 5 damage pretty early, so. And with the stand up, it's just really nice. Fronts, if you pull a grade 3 from Dry Check. Then last but not least, heal triggers. Heal triggers are amazing, so great. That's all really, they're just heal triggers. Well, I hope you liked the video. This is just a guide, so change it up however you like. This is just mainly for Control Bastion. I don't really know much about the other Bastion, but I just prefer the Control Bastion. To me, it's a lot funner. And I hope you liked the video. Laters.